York's Fashion Week, which got underway today. Designers are hoping for an increase in orders this year. Will stores with low inventories place bigger orders this season? Robert Burke is president and CEO of Robert Burke Associates. It's a retail and consumer products consulting firm, and he snuck away from Bryant Park. I know he's going to sneak back right afterwards to talk to us a little bit about what's been going on. Now, obviously, the recession hit high fashion just like it hit the rest of the economy. The recovery that we're starting to see, how is that going to be reflected in the shows this season?
Well, you're going to see better collections than you've ever seen. And we saw it with pre-collections in the last 2 months in Europe. And really, buyers and stores were confident, and they were placing orders. There were increases higher than people had expected. So the result of that is because there's really good collections and there's great value, and everyone's working really hard to make business happen.
Great value. That's an interesting point that you bring up. Are we seeing pricing lower than it's been in recent years, remaining lower?
You are, because what's happened is people realize they need to have what we call in the industry opening price points. So they're really achieving a certain percentage of their garments are going to be in those achievable price points, or really price points that are attractive to the consumer.
Also curious, we've heard from a lot of different retail folks that stores really are not up to speed in inventory right now. Is that going to create a bounce back, do you think, in ordering?
Well, you know, it's always a fine line. A year ago, everyone was cut with way too much inventory. They probably cut back more than they should have, and no one wants to cut off their nose to spite their face in a time when the economy is coming back slightly. So, yes, I think you'll see increased orders. I think you'll see more confidence from the retail stores and the buyers.
Now, one retail research firm told us that the recovery right now is being driven by women 35 to 54 who during the holiday season were treating themselves after holding back on spending. Yeah. Is that informing what we're going to see on the runways during Fashion Week as well?
I think you are. I think there was just in general a pent-up desire for buying and purchasing, and people had held off, and now they're coming back. I think that's the right demographic of the customer, but we're seeing watch sales, which are predominantly men, coming back right now. So we're seeing accessories coming back for men and women. So I think it's across the board, but I think you'll see a real focus on that particular group of people.
I'm also curious, apparently a lot of designers who have skipped either the last year or the last couple of years are coming back. You know, as somebody who's going to be there, how is the sort of sentiment among these folks after the past couple of years with the recession?
Well, I think it's the first, I would say the last 2 to 3 months have been the real glimmers of hope for the luxury industry particularly, but also we're seeing increased sales. People's numbers came in December and were higher than expected. It seems as if January's been strong. So we're encouraged, and I think you'll see that in the attitudes on the runway and the attitudes of the consumers.
I want to talk a little bit about what the fashion industry means to New York and the Fashion Week specifically, because we're going to get a move for the Fashion Week from Bryant Park to Lincoln Center.
You are.
Is that going to affect how the shows go? I mean, the one year when the shows were in Chelsea Piers, apparently a lot of folks didn't show up. What's going to happen with this move?
Well, the fashion industry is enormously important and generates significant revenue for New York. I think that the move to Lincoln Center, which will be in full swing in September, will be incredibly positive. I mean, Lincoln Center is the hub of all culture and activities and arts in New York, and so it just brings fashion in there and kind of completes a full circle.
Do you think that we'll actually see more people showing with the move to Lincoln Center? Will it change?
I think you will. I think there'll be more opportunities. You know, there's great venues there. I think there's potentially great opportunity to collaborate with artists as well as fashion designers. So I think the possibilities are really endless. And fashion's more of a focus now than it's ever been in the past for the general public. And I think Lincoln Center is going to be smart in being able to piggyback on that.
Something else I want to bring up that's sort of not so much on the business end is the passing of Alexander McQueen, which we learned about today. How is that going to affect the sentiment at the shows? And talk to us a little bit about his influence.
Well, you know, Alexander McQueen was undoubtedly one of the most talented designers of the last decade, and they were the shows that I really enjoyed going to and looked forward to the most in London and in Paris. And it's an enormous loss. It's a very sad news to hear today, and I think it will really certainly be a focus with many many of the people and the editors and retailers. It's just sad to see someone of such great talent leave at such an early age.